Hello, dears. Today I am here to speak on a very interesting topic. You can call it mythology. It's a beautiful book, the Puffin book of Hindu gods and goddess. This comes with an illustration by Priyankar Gupta. This book presents a range of tales and characters from Hindu mythology, and it's very colorful. If you look inside, you have the pictures of all the gods, goddesses, and a description of who they are. Very interesting indeed. Now, as you all know, Hinduism was never a religion until outsiders came in and saw all these different rituals that people had and decided these constituted a religion. Everyone doesn't even worship the same god. If you look at India, each person have different favorites. They worship different gods. Hinduism was often a way of life. The main idea that runs through all the different type of Hinduism is that of karma, action, phala, fruits of the action, and samskara, that is rebirth and reincarnation. Everyone is born with the choice of doing good or bad deeds. Your good or bad deeds will decide what the fruit of your action will be. There is no single leader or god who is above everyone else. Like Christianity, we have a trinity, or we believe in a council of gods. For me personally, it's not in the book. The term God by itself says generator, organizer, and destroyer, and we have one God assigned to each of this. Generator is the Brahma, organizer is the Vishnu, and the destroyer is Shiva. And that is the Trinity. Like in Christianity, they say Father, Son, Holy Spirit, but this is different from that. So the book speaks about different kind of gods. They speak about the Vedic gods and goddesses, popular gods and goddesses, avatars, ashtadikpalas, that is the 8 directions, and navagraha. In addition, they say that there could be many other gods and goddesses, and they have said, sorry if we have missed any of your favorite gods, and God promise we'll include it in the next book. If you are interested, I would just take you through what comes, or which are the gods and goddesses that come under each of the major headings. So under Vedic gods and goddesses, because Hinduism in earlier days primarily worshipped nature, comes everything related to nature. Because earlier the belief was that if we prayed to the forces of nature, which was unknown and unexplained, such as thunder, lightning, the vastness of the sky, the heat of the fire, the swiftness of the wind, and the finality of death, they would protect us from them. So these are what were then worshipped as gods and goddesses. To list a few of them: Akasha, the Indian equivalent of the Greek god Zeus. Perhaps Akasha is considered to be the father of the chief deities, hence the name Father Sky or Deus Pita. Second is Prithvi. Prithvi is our planet Earth. They believe that it is the only planet which supported life, hence she is worshipped as Mother Earth and is called Prithvi. Next comes Ashwins or Ashwini Kumaras. The Ashwini Kumaras are the twin deities who are considered to be the doctors of the gods. They are devas of Ayurvedic medicine and represents the light at sunrise and sunset, which is supposed to ward off sickness and bad luck. Then come Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is a god of artisans and craftsmen. He is considered to be the architect of the universe. He is also the god who created the weapons, planets, places, and chariots of all the gods. Then comes Kama and Rati. Kama is the god of love and is accompanied by his partner Rati, who represents lust. Kama, quite like Cupid, uses his bow and arrow to make people fall in love with each other. Now you understand why some people fall in love with each other? It's because of the bow and arrow that is used by Kama. Then comes Aditi and Diti. Aditi is the mother of all the Devas and Diti is the mother of all the Asuras. They are both wives of sage Kashyapa. And these were the Vedic gods and goddesses. Now let's talk about some of the popular gods and goddesses that we worship. We go to temple. They are done in isolation or they are all clubbed. Okay. Whom do you pray at home or when you visit temple? So long ago, there were three basic sects of Hinduism: Shaivism, Vaishnavism and Shaktiism. Brahma was not worshipped in temples. There is a story, we'll come to that when we talk about Brahma. But when we talk about the other three main, like Vaishnavism is for Vishnu, Shaivism is for Shiva, and Shaktiism is the worship of Adi Shakti, who is the most popular one among the female deities and is assumed to be the representation of Parvati and her many forms. It represents the power of all the goddesses put together, primarily Saraswati, Parvati and Lakshmi. The power symbols, names, locations are associated with each of the deities. I'll just take you through that. Let's begin with the creator. Who is the creator? Brahma. Brahma is also known as Nabija, Chaturmukha, Hansa Vahana. He is worshipped only at Pushkara temple and nowhere else. So the story is that there is a curse from his wife Saraswati, also known as Savitri. There was a yagna that was supposed to happen and she was told that somebody approached her and told that she has to be well dressed, which took time. But Brahma had to start the yagna on time and therefore he asked somebody else to sit with him and do the yagna, and she was called Gayatri. This made Saraswati feel bad and he cursed him. But then she said that he would be worshipped only where the yagna happened, and that is Pushkara, and it is only in Pushkara that Brahma is worshipped. His superpower is creation and is believed to be residing at Mount Meru. Narada and the Kumaras are believed to be his children. His symbol is lotus and water pot. The Vedas are his tools, weapons. Next comes Shiva. Shiva is also known as Shankara or Nataraja. We know a lot of stories about Shiva. He is worshipped all over. And we know of his two wives Sati and Parvati and his children Kartikeya and Ganesha. His Vahana is Nandi the bull, and we know he resides at Mount Kailasha. That is what is believed. Then comes Vishnu. Also we have heard lot of stories about Lord Vishnu. He is also known as Narayana, Vithala, Padmanabha, because of the lotus that grows from his navel. This lotus symbolizes creation and purity and is also the seat of Lord Brahma, which is the reason Brahma is known as Nabija, because it is from the Nabi or the navel he is coming to existence. So Vishnu is a problem solver. Garuda the eagle is his Vahana and he resides in Vaikunta with Lakshmi. Lakshmi is his partner. Saraswati, also known as Sharada, Veena Pani or Vani, is the goddess of speech. Her superpower is arts and knowledge. It is said that once a day Saraswati resides on the tip of our tongue and whatever we say then comes true. Unknowingly, if we say something bad, even that comes true. Sometimes she takes the form of Vikata Saraswati. When all the unwanted things come true, that is called as Vikata Saraswati. Because she makes us say the opposite of what we want. Not mentioned in the book, but we know the story of Kumbhakarna, right? Her partner is Brahma. Then comes Parvati. We know she is the partner of Shiva, also known as Shakti, Devi, Bhavani, and Chamundi. She is worshipped in many forms, in the form of Uma as wife, Durga as warrior, and Kali when angry. Usually she is shown with 2 arms, but when not with Shiva, she has 4 arms. Lakshmi, Padmini, Kamala, Vishnupriya is the goddess of wealth, material, and spiritual. She is often represented with gold coins falling from her palms. She is the goddess of prosperity. Her superpower is wealth. She is believed to be residing at Vaikunda with Vishnu. Ganga, also known as Bhagirathi, Janvi, is associated with each of the gods in the Holy Trinity because she resides in Brahma's Kamanadalu, that is the water pot, emanates from Vishnu's feet and resides in Shiva's hair and flows from there to earth. There is a beautiful story behind that. She is believed to be the only river that flows through all 3 worlds, that is Swarga, Prithvi, and Patala. Her superpower is purification. She is believed to purify the earth and the people living here. Yamuna, Kalindi, Yamini is Yama's twin. When Yama died, Yami cried so much that her tears formed the Yamuna river. Seeing her grief, the gods made her the goddess of night, and she became the link between the darkness of despair and the light of hope. Her superpower is night. And then comes Ganesha. Ganesha is the son of Shiva. There is another story to it for some other day, not in the book. Also known as Ekadanta, Vinayaka, Ganapati, Vigneshwara, as Ganesha has the power to remove all the obstacles. And he can also create bumps in your path, which is why he is known as Vignaharata and Vignakarta. That's interesting, right? His superpower is removing obstacles. His partners are Buddhi, Riddhi, and Siddhi, and they reside in Ganesha Loka. Their children are Shema and Labha. His Vahana is Moshika, the mouse. Then comes Kartikeya. Kartikeya or Subramanya, also known as Murugan or Kumaran. It is believed that he was born as 6 children, and Parvati took and put them together and made them as a child, one child. That is why he is represented as having 6 heads and 12 arms. And also he is known as Shanmuga. His superpower is warcraft. Ayyappa. So those from Kerala will specially know. When Vishnu took the form of Mohini during the Samudra Manthan, we have that story as well. Shiva had a crush on her. From their union was born Ayyappa. He was brought up by the king of Pandalam, Raja Rajashegara Pandyan, who found him on the banks of the river Pampa, adopted him. His superpower is military strategy. His partners are Vavar, Purna, and Pushkala. His Vahana is tiger, and his home is in Shabrimala. His tools are the bow and arrow. Then comes Hanuman. Bajrangi Bal, Anjaneya. His superpower we know is strength, Vayuputra. He resides at Mount Gandhamadana. Some words it's difficult for me to pronounce, I don't get it, but yes, I try. His tool or weapon is mace, and his symbol is Sanjeevani or the hill. Now, based on the avatars, like the rebirth that gods and goddesses take for various reasons. Most of the time it is to fight the evil. All the gods have taken avataras. Let's begin with Shakti or Sati. Uh, we know the major three forms are Durga, Kali, and Meenakshi. Durga is Mahisasura, is born to kill Mahisasura, who was half Mahisha or buffalo and half Sura. He was blessed by Shiva with the boon that no man, beast, demon, and all God would ever be able to keep him. Confident that no one could kill him, he started war against the gods, destroying Indra and conquering Devaloka. What he did not realize was that he could be killed by a goddess. Parvati took the form of warrior goddess Durga. Armed with weapon gifted by all the gods, riding her tiger, she pinned Mahisasura down with her leg and killed him with her Trishul. Kali, the Asura Raktabija, was one of a kind. And to kill Raktabija, Parvati or Shakti took the form of Kali. It was almost impossible to kill Raktabija because every time he was wounded and drop of his blood fell on the earth, a new Raktabija would be born, and thus he kept multiplying. Goddess Durga battled with him for a bit, and she realized that she needed to up her power to kill him. She drank all the blood that fell from him so that no clones were formed. She danced on the corpse till she had put to death every last form of the evil avatara. Meenakshi, the ruler of Madurai, what was his name? Malai Dwaja and his wife Kanchanamala could not have children. Through lots of prayers, they were finally blessed with the child born from the fire of Yagna. This child was slightly different. Though she was at 3 years old, she had 3 breasts. The king wanted a son and was upset for 2 reasons. One, because of the form of the girl, and second, because he wanted a son. But God's promise that this daughter will be better than any other man, and she did turn up to be a very good girl. And they promised him that when she would grow up and she would find her right partner, her disformity will be reverted. So yes, when Meenakshi grew up, Meenakshi also means the one who has the eye like a fish, and she was trained like a warrior and had many conquests. To her credit, she visited Mount Kailasha where she met Shiva and she fell in love with him, and at that time she became normal. All her disformity were gone. So people started believing that she was an avatara of Parvati. Now, the next, which we all know, the form of Vishnu. We have all heard of the Dashavatara, the Matsya Avatara, where to save the earth from the flood, the fish took people and led them to the mountain, and after the flood, Manu came down and restarted life on earth. Kurma, the second avatara, where the Devas had lost their power because of the curse, so they went to Vishnu for help, who told them that the only way to regain their ability was to drink the nectar of immortality called the Amrut, and to get the Amrut they had to Amrut was at the bottom of a milky ocean, and to churn it out, it was a tough task. So Vishnu came in the form of Kurma, the tortoise, and balanced the mountain on his back, so Devas could finish the journey. Varaha Rupa is this form was taken to kill the demon Hiranyakasha. Hiranyakasha is a brother of Hiranyakashipa, to kill whom the next Avatara, that is Narasimha, was born, of which we are famous. We'll come to that later. But Hiranyakasha once kidnapped Bhudevi, the goddess of earth, and hid her deep under the sea. So he did again, like other avatars, Hiranyakasha had got special blessings. So it was tough to kill him. So Vishnu took the form of Varaha, the boar, with huge tusk. And it is believed that this form came out of Brahma's nostril as a tiny speck, but grew larger and larger and plunged into the water to rescue the Bhudevi. The battle between Varaha and Hiranyakasha is believed to have lasted for 1,000 years. Finally, Varaha emerged from the water victorious, carrying Bhudevi on his tusk. Then is Narasimha. We know that's the story of Holika. When Prahlada's family was about to kill him, Vishnu took the form of Narasimha and saved Prahlada. Then comes Vamana, that is the story of Mahabali. It is mentioned in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavata. That's not in the book, but we all know the story of the promised 3 feet land and how the Vamana grew into a huge person, we can't call him a person. With 1 foot he covered the whole earth, second whole heaven, and asked, where can I keep the 3rd feet? And Mahabali said, keep it on my head, but asked for a boon that he be able to come to earth at least once a year to visit his disciples. Then comes Parshurama. Parshurama is the 6th avatara of Vishnu, so Parshurama was a devotee of Shiva, with all that was happening to the Brahmins, it was believed that Kshatriyas then had a lot of atrocities on the Brahmins, and so Parshurama helped them regain the land. And Padu, or Ram's Padu means axe, was given to him, and so the name Parshurama. Rama, we know the story of Rama. He is the 7th avatara and the hero of Ramayana. Krishna, most popular god worshipped by Hindus, avatara of Vishnu, appearing in the epic Mahabharata and Bhagavatam. And we know that the most holy book of the Hindus, Bhagavad Gita, is the dialogue between him and Arjuna. Balarama, believed to be an form of the serpent, that is Vishnu, is also an avatara of Vishnu. Balarama is Krishna's brother. So next is Kalki. Kalki is yet to be born. Kalki is the last of Vishnu's avatara, and his time is yet to come. In the future, when the world is as corrupt as it is going to get, Kalki will come on his white horse and cleanse the world of all that is immortal and dirty. His coming will be the end of Kali Yuga, the current age we are in, and only after his purge will the next Yuga begin. It's believed that Krishna died at the beginning of Kali Yuga, and with Kalki coming, Kali Yuga will end. Venkateshwara. So Venkateshwara is a form of Vishnu, like Rudra is of Shiva. The story goes that the sage Birgu, angry because Brahma and Shiva had not paid him attention, came to Vishnu, who was residing at Vaikunta, and kicked him on his chest. Vishnu grabbed and excused out the extra eye in Birgu's foot, a symbol of his arrogance. He immediately apologized and thanked Vishnu for curing him. Lakshmi got annoyed, saying that instead of punishing Birgu, you helped him. and cursed him. So Vishnu came to earth and lived in an antehill in Tirumala and swore that he would go back only with Lakshmi. This is where the greatest temple of him stands today, the Tirupati temple. He is also called Srinivasa or Balaji. Next is Jagannatha. Jagannatha is in Orissa, means the temple for Jagannatha, Jagannath or Jagannatha. So King Indradyamna once had a dream that a beautiful form of Vishnu was worshipped in the jungles of Utkala. Utkala is the old name of Orissa. He sent his priest Vidyapati to see it, who found that the chieftains of Savara tribe worshipped a form of Vishnu called Neela Madhava, but he was not allowed to see the shrine. He, however, managed to persuade the chieftains to take him there and mark the trial with mustard seeds. When he returned with the king, though the deity had vanished, still determined to find it, the king observed penance. He divined that he would find a red log on the seashore of Puri, which would have to be carved into Vishnu's form. Vishwakarma means the sculpture, offered to sculpt it but warned the king against disturbing him before the work was done. The king was impatient, and the result was an incomplete statue which is worshipped even today at Jagannatha temple in Puri. Mohini. When the part of we earlier told about the story of churning and taking out Amrit, right? When the Amrit was available finally after churning, the gods felt that they should be allowed to have it first. But Asuras were not happy with that. After all, they had equally worked hard. What if the god finished all the nectar before they got even a sip, is what they thought. To put an end to the argument, Vishnu took the form of Mohini, a beautiful woman, and started handing out the Amrita to the Devas first. And by the time she reached Asuras, none was left as per the plan. So these are the incarnations of Vishnu. Now let's talk about Shiva. Shiva's main incarnation are four. Rudra came out of Shiva's head screaming. He is the wild and reckless form of Shiva. Earlier, Hindus believed that he caused storms and tidal waves and whatnots, sort of like a god of natural disasters. Rudra is one of the scariest version of Shiva, who is pretty scary himself. So you can just imagine how terrifying he must be. Bhairava. Shiva is mostly known as the destroyer, but in the form of Bhairava, he is a protector. He looks fierce, that is his natural form, because he is the one who guards the weak as well as those who need protection from greed and anger. He is always accompanied by a dog. Rudra is also known as Kala Bhairava, the keeper of time. In one version, it is said that Shiva took this form because he was angry with Brahma, who had claimed that he and not Vishnu was the supreme creator. To punish Brahma, Shiva appeared as Bhairava and cut off his fifth head. This is Brahma's skull in Bhairava's hand. Nataraja. We all know Nataraja, right? Nataraja is a lord of dance. He has one leg raised while standing on a dwarf demon named Apasmara, like he is dancing on the demon's head. The story goes that the arrogant Apasmara challenged Shiva to a fight. Now it is said that the universe hangs in the balance of knowledge and ignorance. Apasmara was the embodiment of ignorance. Shiva took the form of Nataraja and stepped on the demon to suppress ignorance but did not kill him, so the balance would be maintained. The cosmic dance that Nataraja does is called Tandava or the Tandava Nritya, and it depicts the cycle of creation, preservation and dissolution of the universe. Next is Sarabeshwara or Sharabha. When Vishnu took the form of Narasimha to slay Hiranyakashipa, his rage became uncontrollable. Shiva sent in Veerabhadra, but Narasimha overpowered him. Shiva then took a fierce form with the lion's head, 4 human arms, eagle wings, and deer legs, known as Sarabeshwara or Sharabha. This form is also depicted at times as a 2-headed lion with 8 legs. There are stories which say both kept upgrading their ferocious form and kept fighting with each other. Narasimha became Gandharva Erunda. Excuse me. A 2-headed bird with 1,000 horns. Sarabeshwara. Next is not an incarnation but how Shiva is normally worshipped. We all know Shiva is normally worshipped in the form of a lingam. It is a stone form. So the lingam is the most common representation of Shiva. It is vertical rounded column that is seen as a symbol of auspiciousness. Shiva has so many manifestations, some pretty scary, that people started using a very simple stone as a symbol. He is worshipped in this form even today. The lingam is often surrounded by a little pole which symbolizes Shakti or Parvati, the divine energy that completes Shiva. So Shiva and Shakti, they always come together, not always, but to be more powerful. When they are together, they are very powerful. So the next avatara is Ardhanarishwara, which is a combination of Shiva and Shakti. Ardhanarishwara is the joint form of Shiva and Shakti. To become one, Shiva shed a part of himself and Shakti a part of herself. There is a story of how this came to be. Sage Bringi, Bhringi. Sage Bringi was a devotee of Shiva and blankly refused to worship Parvati. So Parvati sat on Shiva's lap trying to trick the sage into worshipping her too. So Bringi took the form of a bee and went around Shiva's head, flew around Shiva's head. So Parvati, she was so exasperated that she became one with Shiva, so that there would be no two people and sage could not worship one alone. This joining is a symbol of how both Shiva and Shakti are after all one and the same. Just like Ardhanarishwara, the next is a combination of Shiva and Vishnu. Harihara is what this combination is called. Harihara is a very cool god. Because he is a combination of Shiva and Vishnu, so he is a kind of super god. His right half represents Shiva and with Shiva's kind of hair, snake, tiger cloth, and his left half represents Vishnu with chakra and the mace and his various adornment. Now we know of the great battle between Sarabeshwara and Narasimha, and then between Sarabeshwara and Gandharva. So all this depicted a conflict between the existing Shiva and Vishnu believers. And maybe to overcome all that Shaivites, Vishnavites conflict, Harihara was born. Harihara is a representation of both sides joining force and becoming one powerful god. Next one is not avatars, it is the Ashtadikpala or the 8 directions. While certain gods and goddesses gained more popularity over the Vedic gods and had more temples of worship built in their name, a few Vedic gods still found their place in these temples. The Lokpala, also known as Ashtadikpala, are the guardians of the 8 directions. In some temples they can be found on the ceilings and in others on the outer walls of the temple tower. Each direction has a guardian, and each guardian has a duty and a graha assigned to them. The 8 Ashtadikpala are first Indira. Indra is to the east. Indra is the god of thunder and lightning and is always seen on a white elephant. Next is Agni. Agni is the god of fire. Agni is towards southeast. Is always seen on ram. It always has a spear on the hand. Agni. Third is Yama on the south. So Yama is the god of death, always seen on a water buffalo. Niruti or Niriti is the goddess of pain and sorrow, always seen on a crow towards the southwest. Varuna is towards the west, god of oceans with Makara as the Vahana. Vayu is the god of northwest, god of wind. Kubera is the god of wealth, always on the north. Vahana is man, elephant or mongoose. And Ishana is the northeast, the god of prosperity and knowledge. After all this, last but not the least comes the Navagraha. So it was believed that there are 9 grahas according to the ancient Hindu texts. We have heard of Navagrahas, right? Though they are considered planets for most part, they are in fact a combination of celestial bodies, demigods and shadow planets. Each of these grahas has its own story. The Navagrahas are often worshipped together unless you are worshipping a specific quality attributable to one of them. Like it's not mentioned in the book. We have a prayer for Shani. If you say you have a Shani Dasha, you pray to Shani, etc. There are very few Navagraha temples, but they are often placed in rows of 3 at the entrance of the temples that worship other major deities. And the Navagrahas are the Surya, the Chandra, the Rahu and Ketu. I'll tell about them at last. Mangala is Mars, Guru Jupiter, Shukra Venus, Shani Saturn, and Buddha Mercury. So they are the Navagrahas. Rahu and Ketu are initially the Asuras who are beheaded by Vishnu's chakra for deceitfully consuming the Amrit, in the earlier story we read, right? Or I just spoke of. As a result, Rahu became the head that causes the eclipse by trying to eat Surya and Chandra for tackling on him, and Ketu the tail, the comet that shoots across the sky. So these are the various forms of gods that Hindus worship, which is being described in the book. A very beautiful book with beautiful illustrations. Those interested, you can grab a copy. It's a quick read. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to let me know your comments. Thank you.